The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is one of my all-time favorite VR games, and it was released in January 2020. When I first played this game on my old PSVR, on the PS4, I was absolutely astonished by the game itself. It was one of the first VR games out there to cover a new ground in the VR game genre. Although I played it for the first time, I didn't really understand how to do the story. I was really young, so this really couldn't make sense for me. But when the game released on the Oculus Quest, then Quest 2, I wasted no time to buy and finish the game. And then a few days ago, I got the Platinum Trophy for the PS5 version. But something I want to get in depth about is how much love they put really into the game. The voice acting, the soundtrack, and the overall feeling of actually being in the apocalypse. And the game had so much going for it and so much to expand upon. The maps were scenic and some insanely huge, like the rampart, but the NPCs could be strange at times. Although the NPCs could be really fun to come across, like the beggars or the muggers. But even after you complete the game, the aftershocks and the workshop upgrades, they make the game still playable for days on end, even after the story is finished. But later on, a few years later, when Skydance announced a sequel for Chapter 2, I was extremely excited. When The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 Retribution released, I bought it immediately. Playing on the Quest, I downgraded the graphics, but it was the only version released at the time, so I really didn't care at the time. Although what I didn't really realize is that Skydance released the game despite the fact it was covered in bugs. It made the game extremely hard to play, and the option to port a save from Chapter 1 wasn't even available at the time. Until a week later, I'd say, I forgot. Which I found extremely irritating because I had 100% save file on my Quest. But later as I played the game, I encountered way too many bugs. An invisible zombie bug that would make zombies invisible. I mean, unless I looked away. So essentially whenever I looked back at them after looking away, they would reappear again, which was extremely irritating since it was really scary sometimes. There was also a game-breaking glitch that was extremely annoying, where if I went through the aqueducts, there was a chance the game would freeze and crash. Sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't, and the list went on and on, especially for other players as well. But if I'm being 100% honest, I put it behind me at the time of first playing it because I was just extremely blinded by the fact that I had new content in my hands. I was just that desperate, I guess. Although some of the aforementioned bugs may have fixed the Quest version, may have been fixed on the Quest version, it's still really buggy to this day. It's extremely buggy. After I recorded the gameplay for the video, I found a glitch.
Thanks for responding to our call.
And on the other hand, the characters in the story were decently written, badly written, both I'd say. I'd make an exception for Sunny and Whistles, but the other characters were mostly dry, in my experience. There weren't many characters I recall in Chapter 1, but some that were there were pretty well written, like Casey, May, or JB. But I really did like the design for Mama in this game. It was very good, and I liked it. But, side note, I extremely despise Echo. I don't know why they made her, or why she exists. I don't want to get into it. I don't even know if she's a boy or a girl. They really don't make it clear, but I don't like them, it. I don't like it. But anyways, let's get on the topic of the Axeman though. The Axeman was a very well-written character in my opinion. I really liked the scenes in the missions where he'd be watching over you, but I really wish we saw him more in combat. The Axeman and the tourist are met face-to-face about twice, and the second time he's a boss fight and he dies. In the folders, there seem to be cut content, one of them being the Axeman would chase you down at night, I think, which would have been extremely cool to see, maybe Resident Evil Nemesis type stuff that you'd see. There was also a cut mission where you'd have to save Sunny and Desiree from the Axeman himself, which would have been a lot more cooler, I say, because there wasn't really much interacting with NPCs this game. Actually, there was, but I would say more with Sunny or Father, the priest guy. I don't know what his name is, but we only saw the priest guy twice too. They did market him a lot, but we only got to see him twice, which made me a little sad because I did want to see more about him. But it would have been fun and interesting mission about the Sunny and Desiree mission. but it never got added. Although the Quest version is kind of a dumpster fire, or really is a dumpster fire actually, I bought the game again for the PSVR 2 a few months back when it first released, since I saw a very detailed graphics comparison, and I will be honest, when I first played the PSVR 2 version, I was extremely blown away because the graphics were just peak perfect, I'd say. Although some bugs I did encounter occasionally, none of them were game breaking, more just like kind of annoying. Like, there was a few, but I can't really name them right now. The game is polished out though, and I can enjoy it. Like, I can actually play the game with encountering like 2 or 3 bugs, I'd say, but nothing crazy. Although for some of the recent patches on the Quest version, there's like, they made the game darker and stuff. I don't know why they'd have to do so. It was fine the last time I played on the Quest, but on some recent gameplay that I saw, the night looked pitch black and it's impossible to see in. And although the game on PC and PSVR are doing better, the Quest version is just taking a downfall horribly. Although I do really wish game developers would really stop releasing games with lots of bugs and glitches. It's been happening way too much recently, like Hello Neighbor, FNAF Security Breach, and many other games that I don't want to list right now. But I do pray Skydance puts as much love into their upcoming game, Behemoth, and the new port of Arashi, I think it's called, like they did into The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 1.